The Punnett square shows the possibilities of how alleles may combine in zygotes.
Oh, we have talked about this before. Punnett squares can be used to predict the genotypes and phenotypes of a particular cross or breeding experiment, aren't they?
Exactly. Now, before you get time to deviate from the topic, let's discuss ways to construct and interpret genetic diagrams like Punnett squares that are used to explain and predict the results of various crosses.
Is that what we'll be doing today?
If you don't have any other plans, yes?
Even if I did, it can wait. For now, I just need to know why I have been genetically betrayed.
Okay then, let's start with the basics. By that, I mean the things you already know about this topic.
Why are you looking at me like that?
Okay, before we unpack the enigma of your eyes, I want you to recall the basic terminologies of genetics that we have discussed before.
That's easy. Here we go. Gene is a segment of DNA molecule that codes for a protein. So, a gene is basically a programmer. The sequence of bases in a gene is known as a genetic code. The genetic code consists of strings of triplets of nitrogenous bases that code for amino acids, whose order determines the synthesis of a specific protein. So, the sequence of nitrogenous bases in genes is what determines our characteristics at the molecular level. Hence, genes are the basic physical and functional units of heredity. And there are several forms of varieties of the same gene, which are known as alleles. In other words, alleles are the alternative forms of the same gene, in which one is maternal and the other is paternal. For instance, in the case of the height of a plant, tallness and dwarfness are traits attributed to two alleles of a gene. These alleles can be indicated as uppercase T for tall and lowercase t for dwarf.
Superb. Let me add on from here. The two alleles of a gene occupy a specific position on the homologous chromosome pairs, and this position is known as the locus.
Oh, more like a location?
Exactly. In other words, the locus is a genetic street address.
Cool! So, the combination of alleles determines the traits. But how does it work?
Okay, this is the point where we should recall two very important terms in genetics. They are genotype and phenotype.
I think I know that.
Really? Go ahead.
Genotype is defined as the genetic makeup of an organism in terms of the alleles present. In the case of plant height, uppercase TT, uppercase T, and lowercase tt are the three different combinations of alleles. All of these pairs denote genetic characteristics related to height, so they are genotypes. And a genotype can be either homozygous or heterozygous. Homozygous means having two identical alleles of a particular gene. On the other hand, heterozygous means having two different alleles of a particular gene. In our case, the combination of uppercase TT is homozygous dominant because of the presence of two dominant alleles, T and T. The combination of lowercase tt is homozygous recessive because of the presence of two recessive alleles, T and T. And finally, the combination of uppercase T and lowercase t is heterozygous. On the other hand, phenotype is defined as the observable features of an organism. It often results from the organism's genotype and the influence of environmental factors. For instance, a pea plant may be tall or dwarf, which is its phenotype. Likewise, the alleles may be dominant or recessive. The dominant allele is an allele that is expressed if it is present in the genotype. Here, the dominant allele is represented by uppercase letters, such as uppercase T, which is the dominant allele for tallness. On the other hand, the recessive allele is an allele that is only expressed when the dominant allele of the gene is not present in the genotype. It is represented by lowercase letters, such as lowercase t, which is the recessive allele for dwarfness.
Bravo! And there we have the answer that you were looking for.
I see. Now I know why my eyes are brown.
Yup. So now can you tell me why?
Yes. So my mother has blue eyes and my father has brown eyes. First, let's give names to the alleles responsible for eye color. The uppercase B represents the dominant allele for brown eye, while the lowercase b represents the recessive allele for blue eye.
Good. Please continue.
If the genotype is homozygous dominant, BB, the phenotype will be brown eyes. If the genotype is heterozygous, BB, the phenotype will still be brown eyes because there is a dominant allele B present. The recessive allele will not be expressed. But if the genotype is homozygous recessive BB, the phenotype will be blue eyes. This is because both recessive alleles are present and there is no dominant allele.
Want to learn more? We have additional learning resources to offer for Cambridge IGCSE and AS A-level subjects. Register now for free.